Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles, and on this episode we're going to be reviewing AEW Revolution for 2022. Not only are we going to review, but if you've seen, a couple days ago I did a prediction, so I'm going to tell you which ones I got right, which ones I got wrong. Hopefully I got more right than I was wrong. We'll have to see. I already know, but you'll have to see as we go along. First up, we start with the buy-in. We have legit Layla Hirsch versus the alien Chris Stoutlander. I thought this was a solid match. I kind of figured it would go the way it did. Layla Hirsch picks up the win on this one. With the way, and I know she's kind of been portrayed as a heel, but the way that the fans turned on the adoption thing, I kind of felt like they had to go this way. So Layla picked up the win here. I was correct on my prediction. I'm going to give this match a 3. I thought it was a solid opener, a solid way to get us into and excited for the upcoming pay-per-view. This was a really solid match. Now coming off of that, our next match on the buy-in, Hook versus QT Marshall. This was perfect for the buy-in. I kind of, and I'll talk about this a little bit later, I might have switched this out and put this on the main card for one reason, and when I get there, you'll understand. This was a good match. QT gave Hook the hardest time he's had with anybody, which makes sense because QT was involved in his training, so obviously your trainer is going to know a lot more about you than almost anybody in the world. Hook picks up the win here. I picked this one correct. I'm going to give this a 4. Everything about the way they're building Hook is perfect. I think it's absolutely perfect. We have a future megastar on our hands, future AEW World Champion, future main event talent. I mean, the guy, his trajectory is as high as anybody else's in wrestling. There's a couple other people, younger wrestlers and one not so young, but young to the wrestling business that I'm going to talk about on here, that are all have a very, very bright future. Now, coming off of that, we have the House of Black, Malachi Black. I mess up a lot of these names. I do apologize. Brody King and Buddy Murphy versus Eric Redbeard, Pac, and Penta Obscura, who is Pentagon Dark, basically. I really enjoyed this match. This was a perfect match, again, to put on the pre-show to show you kind of what you would expect going into the pay-per-view. I really liked this. Alex had the Darth Maul look going to him, so that was a little bit over the top, but still pretty cool in my opinion. I thought this was a solid match. The House of Black pick up the win here. This wasn't announced when I did my prediction, so I had no guess either way on this. I'm going to give this match a 4. Again, a really solid match and a really good way to entice you to buy the pay-per-view if you were sitting on the fence on doing it. If you didn't know what AEW was about, you watch these 3 matches, you get kind of an idea what you're going to see on the main card, and they put 3 great ones to show on the show to sell the card. Coming off of that, we're going to go into our first match of the actual pay-per-view card. Jurassic Express defending their tag team championships against the Young Bucks and Red Dragon. And this match was awesome. There's a lot of people that dislike the style, that dislike this breakneck car crash, high spot centric style. But to me, you want to start a pay-per-view, you want to start it off with a fast-paced, high-flying, all kinds of, for lack of a better word, acrobatics being involved. I thought this was a really solid match. Just like I said on the predictions, the Young Bucks and Red Dragon couldn't quite get along. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but they still ended up canceling each other out. Jurassic Express picks up the win here. I was correct in my prediction. I'm going to give this one a 5. I thought this was an awesome match. I really enjoyed every second of it. Next up, we have the Face of the Revolution ladder match. We have Wardlow versus Keith Lee versus Orange Cassidy versus Powerhouse Hobbs versus Ricky Starks versus Christian Cage. This was really good too. Another car crash style match. Another high intensity, high risk, high danger match. I thought there was a lot of really dangerous or hard looking spots in the match. A lot of degree of difficulty 10 type spots that were pulled off really well. I thought this was a solid match. It didn't go quite as I thought it would be. I thought this would be a place where they could debut a new character. On my predictions, I picked Cesaro or Claudio Castagnoli to debut here. Wardlow picks up the win, which again, another great talent. He was the one I was talking about that's not quite young, but young to the business because I believe he's 34. But anywho, I digress. Wardlow picks up the win here. I was wrong with my prediction. I'm giving this one a 4. Another really freaking solid match going into this pay-per-view. Now, coming from that, another person I mentioned on my predictions that he may debut, that I thought he might debut here, and that's Swerve Shane Strickland. Tony almost said Tony Khan. Tony Schiavone kind of tipped his hand when he showed the clipboard and it said Swerve on it. I thought this was really good. A really nice way to put a break in the action, kind of bring the crowd back down a little bit, but still keep them hyped up. He came out. Everybody was along for the ride with him. They yelled Swerve's house. I thought that was awesome. I think this dude is going to be a major player in Ring of... almost called a Ring of Honor. He's going to wrestle in Ring of Honor very shortly. He may be the next Ring of Honor champion, and I think he may possibly be a very big star in AEW to the heights where he should have reached in WWE, because there's not many talents in pro wrestling that are more talented than Shane Strickland is. So, fantastic signing. Next up, we have Jade Cargill, another one of the young talents that I think is the sky's the limit for. She is the future of women's wrestling versus Tay Conti. I thought this was a really solid match. Again, much like I said with Hook, Jade's toughest test to date. There was a couple little spots that were, a little bit questionable here. Tay Conti, to me, and I said this to my friend Sean when I was talking to him the other day, NXT would run in my area a whole lot, and I got to see Tay a lot when she was in NXT, and she always looked miserable to be there, and part of that was the character, but you could feel like she wasn't happy, whereas now when I see her wrestle, it feels like she's happy, and it feels like she's happy to be there. Jade picks up the win here. I thought this was a solid match. Couple little botches there to take it away from it. I'm going to give this match a 3. Jade's an absolute fucking stud. I mean, she's going to be a star. And she's already there. I mean, Tay Conti, she's a star too in the making. Their women's division has a lot of good pieces. They just need to get a couple more pieces and put them in more prominent roles so that it could be on par with the men's division. Now, coming off of that, we get the match of the evening, and I'm going to try and compose myself as I talk about this because it's such an emotional match. We get MJF, who comes out first, plays a little bit of Living Color, cuts it off to his music, makes the entrance. He's wearing green just like Greg the Hammer Valentine did in the most famous dog collar match against Piper, which, if you remember back, harkens back to CM Punk saying, "Be my Valentine." Then it happened. CM Punk comes out, and he doesn't come out to Cult of Personality. He comes out to Miseria Canter, and I'm probably pronouncing it very wrong. by AFI, his Ring of Honor theme song, and it's such a good song. It's such a good entrance music. He came out in the basketball shorts like he wore for Ring of Honor. He came out in a track jacket that looked very much like the Ring of Honor one. I actually thought it was the same one until I seen the media scrum when he was talking about the picture of Larry being on his chest. That got me. That right there brought me into this match like no other match has in a very, very long time. CM Punk is that guy. He's that guy that can draw emotion out of you. In this match, if you look at this match in a bubble against all the other matches on the card, it's the slowest paced match. It's got very little amount of high spots, but it's bloody, it's violent, everything means something. They let everything breathe. CM Punk does a lot of homages to Roddy Piper. They both do. CM Punk does homages to Bret Hart in this chain match. He uses most of Bret's signature moves. He uses a roll-up like Bret did coming out of the corner. To me, CM Punk has done more for MJF in this few months that he's been feuding with him than Jericho did in the full year that they were feuding against each other. I thought this was the best match of the night. I thought this is probably going to be my match of the year candidate. It's an early one, but it's definitely going to be on there. CM Punk picks up the win here. I was correct on this, and did I mention I was right on the Jade Cargill one as well, just in case I didn't mention that. I didn't remember if I did or not. Anywho, I was right on this. I'm giving this match a 5. You know what? If Dave Meltzer could go beyond 5, I'm grading on a 1 to 5 scale, which he uses. I'm gonna give this match a 7, just like he's done with Kenny Omega and Okada. I'm going to. This is above the scale. This is pro wrestling. When you want to show somebody what pro wrestling looks like, this is the match to do it. This was amazing. This whole card was amazing, but this match specifically, chef's kiss. Now, coming off of that, and here's what I wanted to talk about. I might have put Hook versus QT Marshall here, or Layla Hirsch versus Chris Stoutlander here, because I think the crowd was so high for the match before this that they didn't really give all they could to this match, and it was Britt Baker defending her women's championship, which she has a new title. The title looks fantastic, and she's going up against Thunder Rosa. I thought this was a really solid match. I thought it was really good. Again, I think it had the unfortunate problem of going on right after one of the greatest matches in AEW history. One of the best matches of the last 5 years. I don't think many matches could have been up behind that and got the crowd going. Not that they didn't work really well, not that this wasn't a fantastic match. I like it. I've seen a lot of complaints about Britt Baker and her constant interference, but if you know that's what she's going to do, that's what her gimmick is. This ain't rocket science, people. This is pro wrestling. I got this one wrong. I thought it was the time to give Thunder Rosa the pick, give the championship. Britt Baker picks up the win here. I give the match a 4. I thought it was really good, and they did the best they could coming off of the match before this. It was a fantastic match itself. Not quite what the other one was, but still a fantastic match. And I do think, because they've announced that they're going to be in San Antonio in 2 weeks, and if I might be wrong on this, but Thunder Rosa is either from San Antonio or close enough to San Antonio that if she wins the championship there, she'll win it in her home area or hometown. So maybe they were holding off on that. I think it's her time. I think it's time to give her the belt. But anyway, give the match a 4. I was dead wrong on this one, so it is what it is. But I'm glad I was wrong. It was a great match either way. Next up, we have Jon Moxley versus Daniel Bryan. I said it about the CM Punk and MJF match. I'll say it about this match. This is professional fucking wrestling. This is what wrestling's supposed to look like. It's supposed to look violent. It's supposed to be bloody. It's supposed to be a struggle. It's supposed to have counters and guys doing each other's moves and guys countering each other and guys struggling to get out of submissions, and two top tier talents like Mox and Danielson here. They were so great together. This worked so well. They're both bleeding buckets all over. They're kicking each other in the face. They're elbowing each other in the head. It looked violent. And speaking of that, I think I missed a match. Anyway, I'm gonna cover that when I come off of this, because I did miss the opening match of the pay-per-view. I skipped it. I just realized that. Coming off of that, Moxley picks up the win here with a quick roll-up, which was fantastic, absolutely perfect for this. They fight afterwards, which brings out William Regal. And again, my mind was blown. Another perfect situation. They talk about becoming a They talked about becoming a faction. Who better to lead that faction than William Regal? William Regal slaps them both in the face, basically tells them to get their crap together, and they leave all together. I'm giving this a 5. I thought it was fantastic. Now, I did skip over the actual first match of the pay-per-view. I said the tag match was the first match. I accidentally skipped over, and I did get that pick right, by the way. I picked Moxley. I skipped over Chris Jericho versus Eddie Kingston, which was way earlier in the card. I am very sorry. I didn't mean to. I'm very excited about this. And the reason I remembered that was how violent that match was, too. And they set the tone for what was going to be going on most of the night. We either had violent matches or car crash matches, and both were awesome all the way through. Kingston looked like an absolute stud. Jericho made Kingston more than what he is in this match. Eddie Kingston gets some of the best reactions that any wrestler does in the world. Him, John Moxley, CM Punk, Nick Gage, they all get some of the best reactions that any wrestlers get anywhere. Eddie picks up the win in this one. Jericho refuses to shake his hand. I picked this correct. I gave this match a 4. I thought it was fantastic. Like I said, much like the other ones, it set the tone on the violence because they were violent right off the beginning. Now, I digress. Coming off of that, the match after Moxley versus Danielson was the AHFO, Andrade, Matt Hardy, and Isiah Cassidy versus Sting, Darby Allin, and Sammy Guevara. This was another car crash. We got such crazy spots here, like Sammy doing the Spanish fly off of the entrance. Sting, 62-year-old Sting, dove from a balcony like he was New Jack, and went through Andrade and about 4 tables. Shout out to the Butcher and Blade for setting those tables up for Sting, because he really needed that protection. I mean, he's 62 years old. He's in his Terry Funk run now. He's in his middle-aged, well, not even middle-aged, past middle-age and crazy section. Kudos to Sting. Now, you do not need to do that, Sting. You are a legend. You're a top-tier legend. You're a top-of-the-food chain legend. You're cemented. Your legacy is in. Surefire Hall of Fame first ballot. Just proved here that he's got something wrong in his head. Sting is fucking crazy. That's all there is to say about that. Sting, Darby, and Sammy pick up the win here. I was right on this. I'm giving this match a 4. I thought it was awesome. Last but not least, we get Hangman Adam Page versus Adam Cole, baby. I know, I have to do it every time. This is a really good main event. Kind of felt a little anticlimactic. It felt like I didn't believe at any point that Adam Cole was going to win this. And that's not to say that I don't think Adam Cole could be a world champion. I definitely do. I just had no feeling during this match or during the lead-up that this would be the time for him. I thought this was a fantastic match. I loved both of the guys' gear. Adam Cole coming up in the Spartan gear. Adam Page doing the, I want to say it was the the gay pride colors on his gear, and I think I might be wrong, but I think he did that because of being in Orlando, where the Pulse nightclub shooting happened a few years ago. So I think and he might have just did it just to do it, just because he's a good friggin' guy. And, he wants to stand up for other people's rights. Which, kudos for him. Kudos to you, Hangman. I thought that was awesome. Dude, you're the man. You really are. This match was really, really good. I want to say one of the better matches of Hangman Page's career. That's a lot to say when he's had matches with Kenny Omega and he's had matches with Bryan Danielson. This was right up there with all them matches. This was a really solid match. Red Dragon gets involved. The Dark Order chases him out of there. Suspiciously, the Young Bucks do not get involved in the match. Whether that comes in later, who knows? Adam Page picked up the win here. I'm giving this match a 4. I thought it was really solid. I thought it was an awesome match. There were a few things. Now, when I'm going over the overall card. The pacing. Whew. For a show that was just a hair under 5 hours, it did not... First, it flew by. It did not feel like a 5-hour show. I felt more bored and more worn out watching 3-hour episodes of Monday Night Raw than I did watching this 5 hours from the beginning of the buy-in all the way to the end of the pay-per-view. However, they did wear the fans out at times. All these matches were crazy. They were insane. Either they were extremely violent or extremely car crash, and there was no middle. There was no break anywhere on this card where you could sit down and take a drink of soda, eat some popcorn, feel comfortable with yourself, go take a pee break. There was none of that on this card. This was all killer, no filler, from top to bottom. So I'm glad they only do this 4 times a year, because I don't think that they could put this kind of show on every single month. I don't think the fans would stay with that. They would get burned out on it very quickly. However, with this, it really still felt special. This is what a WrestleMania should feel like. This is what a Starrcade used to feel like. This is what WrestleMania used to feel like. I'm very happy that this whole thing felt important. Even though we had no title changes on the card, most of the matches were predictable. I got, out of the 12 announced matches, or 11 announced matches, I got 9 of them right and 2 of them wrong. I'm just checking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I got 9 right and 2 wrong out of the 11 matches I predicted. So, it was a little predictable, but not to a fault. Sometimes predictable is still the best outcome. This was friggin' fantastic. I loved every second of it. From Punk's homages to his Ring of Honor career, which was perfect, to Moxley and Daniel Bryan and what they're going to do going forward with William Regal, Shane Strickland. All 6 of the women involved stood out, and the one criticism that AEW gets a lot is how it doesn't highlight women's wrestling. We had 3 women's wrestling matches on this card, and all 3 of them were really good. Kingston looks like a bigger star than he was. Wardlow, I forgot to mention Wardlow giving the ring basically to CM Punk without actually giving it to him. Wardlow is well on his way to his face turn, and the crowd was so behind that. Hook looks like a star. Jade's a stud. Jade is a star. Jade Cargill is a friggin' stud. She's the standard bearer for this whole company, in my opinion. With all that being said, I give the whole card a 5. I thought it was fantastic from beginning to end. There were no matches that were worse than a 3, and some of these matches were 5s. Some of them were even better than 5s. I thought it was fantastic beginning to end. I loved every second of it. When I get another 5 hours carved out into my schedule, I might watch this. I'll probably watch this several times. I'm probably going to have to watch it in chunks, an hour here, an hour there. But I thought it was a fantastic show. With that being said, let me know what you think. Hit me up in the comments. What did you think of Revolution? Did you watch it? Did you like it? What was your favorite match? And if you If you could, please hit the like button, share, comment. If you're not subscribed and you enjoy what I'm doing here, so please subscribe to the channel. It really does help out. If you've came this far, I know that you like the show and I know that you've enjoyed this. If you've come this far, put AFI in the comments for CM Punk and using that fantastic theme song. And if you didn't hear it last night at the time of this taping, and you don't know what the song is, go check out that AFI song. It's a fantastic song, and it was awesome. But with all that being said, my name is George Coles, and this has been my review of AEW Revolution 2022.